Welcome to Beyond Adjustments, the podcast where we delve into the world of chiropractic care and the incredible stories behind the practitioners who make a difference every single day. I'm your host, Amin Saeed, and today we're just absolutely honored to have Dr. Peter Kevorkian with us. Dr. Peter's journey is really one of just remarkable growth and impact. From running a successful chiropractic practice to now serving, get this, as the vice president at Life Chiropractic College West. His passion for chiropractic care and education has shaped countless lives, both in his community and within the next generation of chiropractors. So in this episode, we'll explore his transition from hands-on patient care to a leadership role in academia, the philosophies that guide his work, and his vision for the future of chiropractic. Whether you're a chiropractor, a healthcare professional, or someone curious about the transformative power of chiropractic care, this conversation is sure to inspire and inform. Cue the music. Dr. Peter, thank you so much for joining me today on Beyond Adjustments podcast.
My honor to be here. It's great.
The honor and the pleasure is all mine, sir. Trust me, I'm so excited to have you on the show. Without further ado, I just want to jump in and really just delve into your life, your history, chiropractic care. Can we just do that? Can we just start
Whatever you want.
Let's do it. I love it. I'm so excited. I'm like literally giddy because I can't believe I have Dr. Peter on the show. You guys, you don't understand what's happening in my head right now. But all right. So Dr. Peter, your career, as I mentioned, really, it spans decades. Okay. And in multiple impactful roles. So let's start with what first inspired you to pursue chiropractic care, and how has your journey really evolved over the years?
You really remember moments in your life, and there are, I think, some very key things that happened that triggered me to become a chiropractor. First was even how I began chiropractic care. I was a freshman in college and was at a Christmas party. I shouldn't have been at the Christmas party because I was feeling like crap. I had congestion, I had a fever. It's one of those things, when you're a student, you do the smart thing. You decide to go to party and drink rather than stay at home and nurse yourself, right?
Sure.
So that's what I did. And I was at this party, and I wind up being in the party was actually at the home of a chiropractic assistant, her parents actually. And I was dating at that time her best friend. And so that's why I wound up at the party.
Got it.
And I wind up speaking to the chiropractor who the woman worked for. And I get talking, I forget exactly what we were talking about, but at one point I said, I know you're some kind of a doctor. I had no idea what a chiropractor was. I said, I've had this lump in my neck ever since I've had this fever and stuff. Is there anything I should worry about? And the guy looks at my neck, feels a lump, and he explains it's a swollen lymph node. And he says, your body's dealing with an infection. And he says, you should go in within a day or two if it doesn't come by the office. I said, what are you going to do? He said, well, see why your body is not working right, and we'll get it to work better. Part out of curiosity and part out of, this is, a good friend. I think, well, let me go check out, see what the guy does.
Sure.
And as a result of that, I started under chiropractic care, and I started experiencing things in my body that I had never experienced before. I got over that infection, but I became more coordinated. I was never a sickly person, but I just felt my body was better.
Wow.
I was doing martial arts at the time, and people in my class would say, "What are you doing?" Everything, I was faster, quicker.
Yeah.
Everything, just took on.
Yeah.
And so I stayed under chiropractic care who went through a program of initial care. And every time I went, I was asking gazillion questions. That was fascinating. Pushing my back, my body makes all these sounds, and
Yeah.
so it all makes sense to me. One time I'm on the table, and the guy who was adjusting me is an old time chiropractor. Boy, he moved them bones. I mean, a heavy adjuster. And one time I go over and said, Dr. Kadima, that was his name. I said, do you know what you're doing? Boom, boom, boom. No, I don't. And he walks out of the room. And he said, I go, wait a second. You know what you're doing? And the next time he comes, he says, the truth is I really don't. And I paused and I looked at him and said, what I do know is I'm removing interference from your nervous system.
Mm.
What I don't know is what's going to happen when I do that.
Wow.
It could be that your immune system works better. It could be that your back feels better. I don't know. I said, what I do know is the body's always in a better place without nerve interference. I said, that's the most honest answer a doc's ever given me. Walks out of the room and sees those other patients. Then I was really intrigued by it. I was in engineering school at the time. I loved engineering school. I loved math, science. I was doing great.
Wow.
But as I saw my future, I didn't see myself sitting behind a desk doing design. I felt people interaction. So I was considering other careers and everything from education to healthcare to psychology. I was considering everything. And one time I'm getting adjusted, and they said, how do you learn how to do this? And so he stopped, gave me information, and then I went down the road. And I said, I think I want to do this thing. I get to work with people, teach people, improve their health and well-being. Don't put anything into the body that's not there already. It all made sense to me, so I went on my journey. Then I find myself at Palmer College in 1979 with 168 other people starting chiropractic college.
Right.
And in the process of getting integrated into the school, the registrar comes, financial aid, they tell you where your locker is. One student gets up who's from the philosophy club and does a lay lecture. Before the days of PowerPoint, before the days of any modern technology, gets up with a bunch of flip charts and did about 15-minute, 20-minute talk on basically the philosophy of chiropractic, why people should get adjusted, how kids should get adjusted. During those 15 minutes changed my life. I mean, I decided to become a chiropractor, but I looked at that person. I said, boy, if my parents had heard this story when I was a kid, I would have had the benefit of chiropractic care from birth.
Right.
Everybody could hear that story. They would want their spine checked. And so I said to myself at that moment, I said, I'm going to learn how to do that.
That's awesome.
And realized I was this introverted, 26-year-old, naive, scared kid.
Sure.
And the thought of getting up in front of a group of people and talking was inconceivable to me. Yet I started me down this journey of not just being in school to learn the skills of chiropractic, but also to know how to understand and, more importantly, communicate the unique aspect of what it is that a chiropractor does.
So
and
good.
I believe that is fundamentally the most critical link that happened in my mind, because it allowed me a clarity of focus of, as Simon Sinek says, knowing your why. So I felt fortunate that I got that. I got grounded in that from actually my first day in chiropractic school. So that's sort of that started me on the journey.
Love it.
Love
it. Love it. I think it's amazing how just kind of certain people pop into your lives and it just changes the trajectory of just where you're headed. Like you might have this, goal in mind, and then all of a sudden just it gets disrupted. And I think when we pay attention to those moments, our lives really do change for the better. I mean, look at the impact that you've made over the years, instead of, not that being an engineer is a bad thing. I mean, I love math. I'm a programmer myself, but just the impact that you made on the lives, I just think is phenomenal. So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So
the fundamental philosophical idea that chiropractic is built upon, I'm sure you've heard this from other speakers. The major premise of the philosophy of chiropractic says that there is a universal intelligence in all matter, giving properties and actions, maintaining it in existence. In simple terms, it basically says the universe is organized. And everything that designed within our universe happens out of some intelligent design. Well, I extend that one step further to say it just doesn't pertain to the physical universe of the things we can see, hear, smell, taste, touch, the table, the computer, the car, the
Yep.
trees, the planets. I also believe that everything that happens within our lives, every relationship, every
Mm,
encounter, everything that literally happens within our lives happens out of intelligent design, whether we like it or not. The interactions that we have, the physiological processes that occur, the pains that we have, the losses, all of those things happen out of intelligent design.
that's so
So
good.
I take our philosophy to the nth degree.
Yeah, that's so good. That's so good. Um, wow, thank you. That's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about Westwood Family Chiropractic, your practice out in,
Okay.
remind me again where that is again?
Westwood, Massachusetts. It's
In
outside of Boston, about 20 minutes,
awesome.
25 minutes.
So I
It,
would, sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
it's the practice. When I graduated, I associated initially for a couple of years because I wasn't even sure if I wanted to be in the Boston area.
Sure.
Then I met a woman who was a chiropractor, and she had a practice in downtown Boston. We got together, fell in love, and created our own practice
Love it.
uh, together in Westwood, Mass.
Love it.
We wanted a home-based business. Home offices are very, very common in the New England area, and so we wanted a home-based business. We started in 1983. We actually found
Wow.
the house. 1984, the practice opened, and it started in a very small space, 850 square feet.
Wow.
We were there until 1991 when we then built our home practice, on 5.5 acres of land with gardens, and became a lovely, lovely space. But we built the home from the ground up, and then grew to be a very, very, very successful, thriving family practice.
That's awesome. It's so it's a love story too. That's
Oh
kind
yeah,
of awesome.
totally.
I love it. I love it. How would you describe the philosophy really that guided your practice over the years?
Well, going back to that little health talk that was done at my first quarter orientation,
Right.
what hit me is every spine deserves chiropractic care. Every body is better off without nerve interference than with nerve interference.
Mm-hmm.
Worst causes of nerve interference or involvement in the spine can oftentimes begin at birth.
Mm,
Uh, so I want to check people, adjust them as needed from birth until death. So my practice was to try to build that understanding with every single person that came through the door. So regardless of why somebody may come to the chiropractor or came to my office, we would educate people to know the benefit of having a healthy spine.
mm,
Yes, for them, but also their families.
mm.
So the practice was built upon an educational process to understand the benefit of chiropractic care. And my philosophy, personal philosophy for practice is very, very simple. Tell people the truth, take care of people like family, um, be affordable and available, be good at what you do in terms of delivering the goods, and do it
Mm,
from love. And
mm.
those are really my people say, well, how do you have a successful practice? I've said that thousands of times,
Love it.
to just come from that space. The rules of life,
Yeah.
rules of practice, really
Love
simple.
it. Love it. Thank you for that, Dr. Peter. That's awesome. That's awesome. So over the years, right, I mean, the impact, I mean, you opened in 1984, right? Um, I think, so you said you got into, Palmer, you got it at 1979, right?
1979 we
Yeah.
started.
I was born in 79. That's insane.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. I remember being in school and during homecomings, all the docs would come back to the school,
yeah.
and I remember sitting there as this naive little student and said, "I want to be an old timer. Old timers got their act together. They know what they're doing." Well, I am now. I don't know if I do.
Oh man, that's
I still
crazy.
feel like Indiana Jones. I'm making it up as I go along.
Well, like your doctor said, he doesn't know what he's doing, but he knows what yeah. So
But you know what you're doing, but you don't know the impact of what it's gonna do.
right, right, right. I love it. So wow. So 40 years, man. If not 41, 42. But
42 years in practice, table
that's
side.
crazy. That's crazy. I mean, the impact that you made on your communities and then the ripple effect that that had over the years. That blows my mind. But so, so you did that. You flourished your business. The fact that your business stayed alive and in business throughout the years is also a testament to not just um your philosophies, your abilities to perform the chiropractic care, but really to a testament to the way you run your business as well. Because if you didn't do that well, or if you didn't have the right person to help you to run that well, it wouldn't have succeeded. And we see that day in and day out. But so you did that for, wow, 40 something years. And now vice president of Life Chiropractic College West. You're really shaping the future of the profession, in my opinion. What inspired you to step into this leadership role? And what are your really
Well,
key
there's a
priorities for the
story behind
college?
that. I mean, um, I'm I've been a full-time chiropractor during
Mm,
those 42 years.
mm,
Uh, but at the same time, I've been very involved in many other aspects of the profession.
mm,
I've been involved politically, locally, as well as nationally, as well as internationally. I've taught, I'm on the board and I teach for the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association. So I've been teaching for them for over 20 years. Postgraduate training. The ICPA is the premier pediatric family practice organization, independent of any college or any organization that has we just hit 9,000 members of the organization, paid members. So
wow.
true testament to that organization. Um, but I've also, a number of years ago, probably about 10, 12 years ago, I got asked to serve on the board of trustees at Sherman
Mm,
College. So I, shifted, and that was my first real formal engagement in academia. As much as I was teaching the ICPA, it was a class. So I started to enter the world of chiropractic education, politics, accreditation, compliance, and all those things. When I got on the board at Sherman, the college was at, I believe, 158 students, and was talking about closing its doors. During my 8 years in the board, most of that time as chairman of the board, the school grew over 400 students.
wow.
We did a multi-million dollar campus improvement during that
Wow.
time. It was great. It was
Wow.
inspirational.
Yeah.
And I don't want to take credit for it. I was on the board with some great people. We hired a great CEO, the president, Dr. Edmund Cordero. Outstanding job, and I felt excited and honored. Is the hardest job I ever had at that point in time. And one I didn't get paid a dime for. It's like, but it was great, very very rewarding. Subsequent to that, I went back into practice. COVID happens, and some other personal things happen in my life with associates and people close to me passing away.
Yeah.
A number of different things serendipitously happen. And anyway, Dr. Ron, the president of Life West, we had connected regarding a number of different issues. He had me come out and speak a few times at graduation for their school assemblies. And he sort of nudged me each time I was here. He says, it'd be great to, have you get on the other side of academia. And I said, no, 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 I love practice. And he kept nudging and nudging. And, I don't need to go through the details of the story, but at one point he nudged and he says, I'd really love your help out here.
Mm,
Shared his vision
mm,
of where to see the school go. And I had a lot of conversations with my wife and, at this point in a person's life, lots of guys are looking for an exit strategy and finding a way to lie on a beach and retire. And
right. Yeah, absolutely.
I
Yeah.
decided to start a career. So
That's crazy.
I felt, I believe that I have knowledge and skills that not, I've walked an interesting path
Mm,
in profession and even before my profession. And I feel as though God has blessed me with capabilities of communication, leadership, organization that don't necessarily live in the same person, in one body. So I said, maybe this is what gift I need to leave.
mm,
There was a person who actually sat in this seat at Life West. I met with Dr. Ziegler. great guy. And he made a comment that really sat with me. He says, a man during his younger years is trying to make a mark, and in their later years are trying to leave a mark. And I said, boy, that's rather profound. I feel as though I have gifts that, I have yet to leave before I take my last breath. So that's why I'm here. I'm going to do my very, very best to drive and move the profession into a constructive place. There are loads of concerns I have in terms of the direction of healthcare, of chiropractic. I believe in the deepest part of my soul that every human body deserves to have their spine checked and adjusted for their lifetime, just because that in and of itself can benefit their health and well-being,
Yeah.
independent of symptomatology.
Yeah.
So much of where the profession is moving toward is like a natural modality, is a natural means of healing, fixing, or curing. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I believe that the true goal of creating a healthier humanity comes in people striving to create vitality, health, and well-being. And chiropractic is more aligned, no pun intended, to doing and creating that than just to be focused at treating or preventing diseases.
Love it. Love it. If you
So that's
could,
why.
sorry.
So that's why.
Yeah,
And
I love
there
it,
are
man.
lots of things about the program here that's extremely inspiring to me.
Sure.
In terms of how the curriculum is structured, how students are engaged, the practical aspects of what's happening, the all of those things. We can talk about them if you want, but that's what drove me to be here. Is that it very much, very, very much aligned to my core values and direction.
I love that. Well, I mean, answering that call is no small thing. So I can't wait. Honestly, I'm gonna be watching closely. Just letting you know, Dr. Peter. But it's gonna be awesome to watch and see the impact that you're gonna make on the young lives there. So thank you for answering that call. So I got $1 million question for you. If you could impart, so plenty of experience, right? From running a practice, now VP at Life West. If you could impart one key lesson to every aspiring chiropractor, what would it be?
Just one thing:
One key lesson.
adjust people. Actually, it's got to be a twofer: adjust people and love people.
Okay.
Okay. There's nothing that elevates the being and expression of this innate intelligence that chiropractors refer to more than a spinal adjustment. Adjust, and by that I mean authentically adjust people. Be good at what you do clinically. Be competent, being able to analyze the spine and deliver a good specific adjustment, and do it with love. I as much as I believe that every spine deserves to receive chiropractic care, what I believe the world needs even more than that is unconditional love and compassion. And to every person, whether you like them or not, out of that space of love and service. So
Love it.
So
Love it.
it's a twofer. I can't do the
I'll
one.
take it. Hey, I'll take it. I don't think there's been one chiropractor that's been able to give me one key anything. I just had an interview with Dr. Josh out in Virginia, and he's like he failed every time, and then we got one where he was able to give one answer. It was like, yes, Corey did it. It's kind of cool. But anyway, so thank you. That's a phenomenal answer. Thank you for that. Can we get into the science of chiropractic care? I got a couple questions for you on that. Can we jump into that? All right. So kind of around understanding chiropractic principles, right? So chiropractic care is often, in my opinion, misunderstood. I was one of those people that misunderstood it. How do you, in fact, I used to think you can get paralyzed getting adjusted, but how how do you explain its benefits and principles to someone new to chiropractic care or about to enter in or thinking about it?
I can explain chiropractic by talking at you. But if I really want you to understand what it is that I do, I need to engage you in dialogue. So in that process, Like right now, you're nodding your head back
Yeah.
and forth.
Yeah.
Why do you do that?
Because I understand and agree with what you're
Why
saying.
you, right. You're hearing sounds come in your ear, though you interpret those sounds as words you understand.
Right.
And to complete a cycle of communication, your brain sends energy to the muscles in the back of your neck to nod to
Okay.
complete a cycle. You don't think about that.
Right.
You're not thinking about digesting the food that you ate today.
Correct.
You're not, your body's not thinking about how to deal with the bacteria and viruses that are in the environment that you're in that allowed your immune system to be able to adapt to the world as it needs to. I mean,
100%.
so many things are happening you don't ever think about, but the brain is controlling and coordinating those actions within your body. And it's doing that because it's getting information from your body, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Everything in your body is happening that way. If I were to ask you right now, what's your small intestine doing? Could you tell me?
No.
No, but your brain knows,
Yeah.
right? And I said, what chemicals is your liver making right now? Do you know?
No clue
But
whatsoever.
your brain knows, right? And it's doing that because nerves pass between your brain, go into the body,
Yeah.
and from the body back up to the brain.
Yeah.
That's how everything works. If I jabbed you in the leg with a sharp implement, what would you do?
I would say ouch, and
Why?
probably swing back at you for doing that.
Why would you do that?
It's the reaction to pain. I'm in pain, and my brain is sending signals to that area telling me there's pain there.
Right. I poke you. Nerves sense something has happened. It actually sends a signal into your spine. From your spine meets up with other nerves. Split second comes up to your brain. And your brain, if you didn't see me do it, you'd look down to see what happened. And then you'd realize it hurts. You'd push me away. You'd scream. You'd say, that guy's crazy.
Yeah.
All because nerves send information up to your brain.
Right.
Now, let's say where that signal came into your spine, the vertebra at that area that it has to pass between moved out of place and put some level of irritation on that nerve. Do you think more or less information would come up to the brain?
Less, for sure.
So conceivably, if things were malfunctioning to a great degree and none of those signals made it up to the brain, could you respond appropriately?
No.
So there'd be less information coming up to your brain. What's that information called?
I don't know.
No, you said it yourself. Well, what's the information called when I jab you? Well, what
Signal.
sensation?
The pain. The pain.
The pain.
Yeah.
So if there was enough distortion of that signal, you'd have no pain.
Right.
Now, that's exactly opposite of what many people think. Many people think things in the spine move out of place and create pain. Using logic right now, you're seeing misalignments in the spine may actually be related to less pain, less awareness. Without that information, the brain doesn't know how to function appropriately. Now, this is a very crude example of things you're aware of, but as you just understood, there are loads of things happening in your body you're not aware of. Interrupt that information getting up to the brain can't control or coordinate the body properly. Information not coming correctly from the liver, your brain doesn't know how to make the right chemicals. Interfere with the information going to your stomach, your intestines, it doesn't know how to digest food properly. Interfere with your immune system, the immune system can't work as well. So everything in the body requires good nerve energy.
Sure.
What a chiropractor is trained at is being able to find areas of the spine, be able to very gently put a force into the body that allows the brain to get those signals back.
Right.
Now, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
If these misalignments happen in your spine, what do you think might cause them?
What might cause the misalignments?
What might cause misalignments?
Bad posture.
Posture could do it.
Yeah. Just daily activities of how we move our bodies.
Sure.
Yeah.
All sitting too much, stress. Yeah, they could do it.
Yeah.
Motor vehicle accidents.
Sure.
Football injuries.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a good idea to correct these misalignments, these involvements of the spine, as soon as they occur, or after they've been there for weeks, months, or years?
No, I think as soon as they occur, but also the maintenance of it over time, like not to just go because something happened, but to have that. Yeah.
Because no one can cause these subluxations or these misalignments, right?
Right.
But the question I just asked you is one of the most critical ones. You said, like most people will say, I should have it taken care of as soon as it occurs. Some of the worst traumas that occur to a human body happen as a child comes through the birth canal.
Wow.
So as a child is born, very often that can misalign or interfere with the nervous system in that birth process. Now we set the stage for that nervous system not being able to be fully perceiving its world. That
Mm,
nervous system can't fully control its world.
mm,
Interference starting now at that point in time, and the body has to try to deal with that for days, weeks, months, oftentimes years. So
mm.
if the first time somebody goes to a chiropractor is 45 years of age, there's a good chance that spine has had involvement for 45 years.
Oh yeah,
It'd be a hell of a lot easier to take care of things at birth.
100%.
So that kind of explanation is what I would give every patient that came into the office. And so most people, even though they might be coming for headache or back pain or for whatever reason, once they understand that, they say, oh, maybe I should get my kids adjusted. Now, they
Right.
don't immediately bring their kids in that day,
Sure.
but as they see a benefit in care and they see other kids getting adjusted in the practice and kids jumping on the table, excited to be there, they then bring their kids.
Mm,
So
mm.
about 30% of my practice, 35% of the practice was under the age of 15.
Wow.
Yeah. So
That's
So
actually
most of those
amazing.
kids didn't come because they were sick or had a
Mm,
problem. They
mm.
came because parents understood as you're growing in your understanding of the importance of getting care from a young age.
Sure.
So it's actually simple. Just tell people the truth. Tell people the
Yeah.
story.
Yeah.
Allow people to have that understanding
Great
and make
answer.
it affordable.
Yeah. Great answer. Great answer. So you talked about your vertebrae. I believe it's called the atlas, right? That first, is
The
that my
top
right?
vertebra in the spine is called the atlas.
Yeah. So mine was like at a 9 degree. I think I'm back now at a 12. Kind of we're working on it. And I believe, and I'm going to continue to believe that it's actually what caused the loss. I lost hearing about 5, 6 years ago in my right ear. Just out of nowhere, I woke up one day, I couldn't hear. And actually the more I get adjusted, the more hearing I get back in my ear. It's
Army Lillard version 2.
it's crazy. It's crazy to me. And for me also, so both my kids have scoliosis, unfortunately. So I'm watching that miracle happen as well. These are, both, in my opinion, extreme cases, right? But if we address, I would say, uh, uh, um, it should be a precursor to your week. You should get adjusted no matter what. Because it's like an athlete getting ready for, the Olympics. They're not just going to show up and, run a decathlon, right? They're not going to do a pole vault just because they feel like it. They're going to train their body. They're going to get ready for that event. Well, I believe, at least for me, chiropractic care is that training for your body, right? To be in a place, to be in a healthier place, to be able to function properly, your for your nervous system to function properly, and so on. So your
So
answer is
can
spot on.
you said a lot of things there that were rather profound.
Mm,
Uh, you said people should get adjusted weekly.
mm.
I'm going to suggest a different terminology and
Okay.
just say people should get adjusted when they're subluxated.
Mm,
Okay. Subluxations are when there's an involvement of the spine.
mm,
And the adjustment is not just a general mobilization of the body, but it's a very, very specific force application. Metaphorically, it's like going up to a pool table, right? And hitting the cue ball and having all the balls move around on the table, or lining up your shot, hitting the cue ball in such a way that a ball goes in a pocket.
mm,
Okay. So
mm,
an adjustment is very, very specific with very specific intention. That intention is to allow there to be less pressure on the spinal cord and the nervous system.
mm.
Okay.
That's a
So
cool
yes,
analogy.
it is exactly what you want to do regularly when you're subluxated. You don't want to go putting forces into people's body randomly
Yeah.
if they're not subluxated.
Right.
That makes sense?
It does.
Okay.
100%.
The adjustment doesn't train anything.
Mm,
The body is the only trainer there is. The
gotcha.
wisdom and genius of your body knows exactly what it needs to do, how it needs to do it. The adjustment is not going to train you. It's the body's own inherent ability to function.
Gotcha.
It's designed to work properly. Your training happens out of you choosing and making the decisions of how you are going to use your body, whether it's to lift weights or it's to run or throw a javelin or a discus or to play music, whatever
Yeah.
that is.
Yeah.
Your training is you developing the rigor and the discipline for you to develop that skill. Having a body free of nerve interference allows you to do that optimally.
Right.
So the
Right.
adjustment isn't training you, but it's allowing you the greatest resources
Sure.
for your physiology to be maximized at being able to train yourself in whatever direction you choose to go in.
Love
So
it.
that way, it's not the chiropractor doing it.
Yeah.
The
It's your
chiropractor,
body.
it's your body doing it. It's the wisdom and genius of your body doing it. It's
Right.
your capability, your talent, your skill, your discipline. You're the guru. You're the genius.
Mm,
All we're doing is giving the body its greatest amount of resources by allowing that interference to be taken away.
I love that. I thank you. You took me to school
And
there.
the truth is,
I love
the
that.
truth is, the chiropractor doesn't even do the adjustment. The truth is, what the chiropractor is doing is offering the body a very specific force that
Mm,
the body knows how to take and free itself from nerve interference.
wow.
Our job is to be as specific as possible. The intelligence that the body says, yes, this is what should be happening at this joint. This is what should be happening to that nervous system. And it, of its own wisdom and genius, is allowing itself to correct itself.
Mm,
People ask me all the time, says, well, if the body's so intelligent, why doesn't it adjust itself? It does. The body is constantly taking forces randomly coming at it and
yeah.
trying to use it constructively. Our job is to provide a very specific force when a random force isn't coming to correct the nerve interference.
Gotcha. That makes sense. That
Does that
makes
make
sense.
sense?
Yeah, it does. Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense to me. I want to back up just a little bit. You mentioned that it starts from birth, right? The way your body is. Okay. So with Westwood, right? Your practice,
Yeah.
you care for all ages, right? So, but what I would say, what unique considerations do you take, or do you teach your associates to take, when treating children, right, versus adults?
So the process of pediatric care,
Mm-hmm.
adjustments of a young child,
Mm-hmm.
uh, has been around literally since the beginning of the profession.
Okay.
But the true development of focus for pediatric care, I'm going to give credit to Dr. Larry Webster. Larry Webster, who was the developer and creator of the Webster technique you might have heard of.
I have, yeah.
Uh, Larry Webster was the founder of the ICPA, the International Chiropractic Pediatric Association, and really felt as though chiropractors, although they got some introduction to caring for children in chiropractic school, that there was work that could really be done to elevate
Mm-hmm.
the specificity and proficiency and competency of the chiropractor adjusting children.
Mm,
If I take my pinky and I put it right here, I'm on my atlas vertebra, okay? But if I take that same pinky and put it onto the neck of a child, it could be on the atlas, the axis, the third cervical, maybe even the fourth cervical, depending on the size of that person. So
right.
how do you find a way to put a force in very specifically
Mm-hmm.
to an area of the spine without engaging more areas of the spine, without over putting too much force into the body?
Mm,
The indicators that we look at in an adult can sometimes be very, very, very evident, and in a child becomes a little bit more subtle. So honing in your skills of being able to evaluate a child or an infant or newborn and being able to specifically apply a corrective force, the adjustment to that child, it requires training. The ICPA offers that. My associates have been trained through the ICPA as well as within my practice. Um, the um, there's no simple thing I can tell you in words that says, "Oh, do this and you could be a chiropractor for adults and then take care of kids." It
right.
requires a different level of training, awareness, sensitivity. Yes, many of the things that we know relative to adults translate down into a pediatric spine, but there are nuances and subtleties that really need to be developed.
Yeah.
I remember the first time that I was trying to learn cranial work,
Okay.
okay, which is adjusting the cranial bones, which you can do in adults, but particularly with children, because
Interesting.
the cranium is still so pliable, and the spinal cord attaches throughout the cranium.
Mm-hmm.
The covering of the spine, called the meninges, attaches not just to the spinal cord, but also attaches throughout the cranium.
Wow.
So you can make an impact and effect to the entire spine by taking care of a cranium, particularly in a child.
Mm,
But I remember the first time that I was palpating the cranial rhythmic impulse, the very subtle sensation of the movement of the cerebral spinal fluid. I didn't feel nothing. It took me over 9 months to really begin to hone in, develop the skill of being able to feel the cranial rhythmic impulse.
Wow.
So it takes patience, watching subtleties. But the general rule of thumb that I will tell every chiropractor with kids, infants, babies, less is more. Less is more. Less usually get you further. Less contacts, less input into the system usually gives you more.
Good answer. I love that. So I noticed some videos that you have out there. I believe you called it the Phenomenal Minute, right? So I did watch a few. It really, I would say it provides, I guess, accessible, bite-sized education on chiropractic care. What inspired this initiative really, and how do you see it empowering patients?
So if you saw me and you said, "Hey Pete, how's it going today?" My usual answer is phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Phenomenal is my word. Okay. So patients would say, well, "What's going on today?" "Things are phenomenal."
Love
That
it.
is my
Love it.
and I've done that for ages. A very, very good friend of mine, colleague of mine, practicing in Massachusetts, Dr. Jean-Marc Slack, when you asked him, he got a phrase that he learned from Sid Williams. You ask him how he's doing, he says with his French accent, he says, "Near perfect." And so Jean-Marc had actually started a weekly video similar to my thing called the Near Perfect Minute.
Love it.
And so it would be his opportunity to get out on social media and share something with his practice members, his community, that he called the Near Perfect Minute. So he inspired me.
Nice.
I never say near perfect, but I say phenomenal. So I called it Peter's Phenomenal Minute.
Love it.
And what it was a 1 minute, maybe 90-second thing about something relative to chiropractic, personal growth, chiropractic practice, what might be, I would say something like, "This is Dr. Peter with today's Phenomenal Minute." People ask me, can you hurt somebody by giving them an adjustment? So I'd ask the question, then I would give an answer to it. Why should kids get adjusted? And I give an answer for it. Each one would have a question. Usually.
Can we do a Phenomenal Minute right now?
Sure. Pick a top. Give you a Phenomenal Minute.
All right. I'm gonna go extreme on this one because I really did believe that you can get paralyzed from an adjustment. This was years ago, just admittedly. But here's my question: Can someone be paralyzed as a result of chiropractic care?
This is Dr. Peter with today's Phenomenal Minute. Can somebody become paralyzed or permanently injured through chiropractic adjustments? The God-honest answer is no. If a spinal adjustment is what is being delivered, you cannot be hurt or injured. An adjustment is a very specific, gentle force application to allow the body to have less nerve interference. The body is never better off with nerve interference. So if the chiropractor is delivering a spinal adjustment to allow subluxations, nerve interference, to be corrected, to allow better nerve supply, that is never traumatic, it is never harmful, it can only do good. Now, if the question was, can chiropractor hurt somebody? Well, could you drive your car into a brick wall? Could you jump out of a 50-story building? And would that hurt? Absolutely. The chiropractor would need to do something that really is not a spinal adjustment. But I'm going to give you the truth. If chiropractors were hurting people, it would be reflected in their malpractice rates.
Sure.
The amount that I paid for malpractice insurance for millions of dollars worth of coverage was less than I paid for my auto insurance.
Wow.
It's one of the safest forms of healthcare.
I have to say that's phenomenal.
But realize the question that you asked me was chiropractic care. Okay. So first, I needed to define for you an adjustment.
I noticed.
Spinal adjustment never harms, can only do good by its definition.
Yeah.
Now, can a chiropractor put an inappropriate force into a person's body? Sure.
Yep.
Much of that would be volitional or unconscious or unethical to be able to do that. Could something occur that out of it, anything is possible?
Sure.
A plane could land on me right now and kill me, right?
Right.
Anything is possible. To say that it could never happen,
Right.
no. But if indeed it was happening a lot, it would be reflected in our insurance rates.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, I got $1 million question for you. If you had unlimited resources, so now we said I made you choose one thing when it became two, but now I'm giving you unlimited resources. But we're talking about advancing chiropractic research. Where would you focus those efforts to make the biggest impact?
In two directions. Uh, I believe that the tools that we have right now to evaluate and discern um, this thing that we call a subluxation,
Uh,
and the various aspects of subluxation, whether it lives in a biomechanical world or it lives in a neurological world, both of which occur
uh,
when this has nerve interference. I believe we're in our infancy to understand the depth and the magnitude of that. So to engage more research, more knowledge in understanding the distortions that can become and held, the traumas that can be held within the physiology,
uh,
structurally, neurologically, physiologically, biochemically, in all possible ways, but through this phenomenon that we call subluxation.
uh,
I believe we need more research for that. And I would love more to go there.
okay.
Uh, Akin to that, I would also like to see clinical research amplified in the measurements and the quantification of building health, well-being, and vitality. Virtually all of the markers that we have in terms of determining the impact of clinical services is based upon the treatment of a condition, pathologies. That we identify a pathology and then we identify protocol or treatment or a regime to fix, treat, or cure something.
Mm,
Um, the, chiropractors have often said that the goal of chiropractic care isn't to get rid of problems, but is to elevate health, well-being, and vitality.
uh,
Uh, the treatment of pathology is what we call pathogenic care. It's pathogenesis, looking at things that create pathos, disease, disorders. And the focus of healthcare has been pathogenic.
uh,
And we strive to identify a condition by giving it a name or a diagnosis and then treating the pathology. Well, there was this guy, Aaron Antonovsky, about 50 years ago, coined a term called salutogenesis, which is the contrast to pathogenesis, looking at the things that create, foster, build health, well-being, and vitality. Okay. But it's a whole new way to look at things. That
uh,
just because you've eliminated pathologies doesn't necessarily mean you've created a more sane, healthy, functioning person. Yes, you're better off with the conditions, but body isn't necessarily healthier. You hear my point?
I
Okay.
do.
Just because somebody becomes free of diagnoses doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean you're building health, well-being, and vitality. I would love our research dollars also to go toward markers and developing technologies that can build quantification and data to show enhancement of vitality, this thing we call salutogenesis.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the measurements that we have right now are quality of life assessments. But even the quality of life assessments are very much built into problems you don't have rather than increasing well-being. It's a whole new way to look at things.
Wow.
It requires almost a microscope that doesn't exist anymore.
Wow.
So chiropractic, I believe, is fostering and nurturing that level of thought.
Uh,
So it's not our philosophy, but our philosophy is totally aligned to that
gotcha.
direction.
Gotcha.
So,
Love
so
it.
if I had unlimited resources, it would be identifying the impact and the mechanism of adjusting nerve interference better and building this understanding and data management and quantification of salutogenesis.
Mm, wow. Man, your library in your brain, it's insane to me. The fact that you can just kind of access all this stuff. It's crazy to me. Wow. All right, let's talk a little bit about um leadership and mentorship. So what is your role as, VP at Life West involved? How do you see it influencing the future of the profession?
So my role is administrative. um, and non-academic at this point. In a certain way, it uses a whole new part of my brain. When Dr. Ron asked me to come here, he says, I want you to be vice president of institutional advancement, which is things like continuing education, fundraising, events that happen at the school, alumni services. And I said, I'm not a fundraiser. And come to think about it, all fundraising really is building relationships, building relationships, building trust, creating a vision. I'm actually really good at that. Uh,
Mm,
so, so
I can
in
tell.
as much as it's not what my training is,
Yeah.
uh, so that's my that's my department, right? But now we interface with so many other aspects of it. One of the things that we want to do is the best source of a chiropractic student comes from a chiropractor. Chiropractors who have patients who's just like I did. How do you learn how to do this thing? That I did, 45, 40, whatever, 50 years ago. So a part of what we've done is created a program for chiropractors to make it really easy for them to refer people to a chiropractic college. Obviously, I want them to come to Life West because I think it's one of the strongest curriculums that exists in the profession. But
Mm,
we've created an ambassador program that allow. So I interface with docs in that way. Uh, Having said all of that, coordinating the homecomings and the events that are here and handling the speakers who come for all school assemblies. Um, More and more students are realizing what my experience is. So I've become, a prominent speaker at many clubs on campus for pediatric club, for the Delta Sigma Chi fraternity, for the sororities. Uh, so I get to speak to loads and loads of clubs. A few instructors have me be a guest speaker in their classes on pediatrics or chiropractic technique or philosophy. So I make my influence there, but I don't have the responsibility of the class. So I get the best of all worlds. I get to be involved with decision making on an administrative level, and I get to influence students on a level where I don't have to feel responsible for giving exams and then taking classes, et cetera, and having curriculum. With that, I do sit in the cabinet, so we carve out and look at the future direction of the profession. How does the
mm,
curriculum evolve? What are the learning systems that we utilize? What are the mechanisms of outcomes assessment to ensure the integrity of the program? What are the mechanisms that we can ensure that our philosophy lives within all aspects of the curriculum? So I get to have decision-making factors at a very high level of ensuring the integrity and the quality of the program and the experience for the students here at Life West.
that's good. That's good. Well, what advice would you give to students and young chiropractors about navigating challenges kind of early on in their careers?
While in school or after school?
Let's go with while in school.
So while in school, in my opinion, the two most important things to be able to uh, develop is your ability to analyze and adjust the spine. Okay, that you that you know that you know that you know that you found nerve interference and you've adjusted it, and also to be able to understand our philosophy and be able to communicate that philosophy.
Mm,
So to understand the philosophy, not just from a philosophy class, but how that really melds and integrates into every aspect of a person's experience.
mm,
Every class. I've said we don't need more philosophy classes. Philosophy needs to live in every class. So that needs to be imbued within the program. So those, in my opinion, are the two most critical pieces: being grounded, understanding the philosophy, being able to communicate it, and being able to analyze and adjust the spine effectively.
mm. And what about as they're entering into kind of the chiropractic world or community as they're ready to start making that impact? What kind of advice would you give them?
Meet people, talk to people. Meet
Mm,
people, talk to people. Introduce yourself. Invite people into your world. Um, One of the I think challenges that faces the younger generation is so much time is spent here. You know,
mm,
this is the interactions of where people occur. Even social media is like it's almost an unreal world. Chiropractic is a very intimate profession. We
mm.
touch people. We develop connections and relationships with people.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to meet people, greet people, look people in the eye, talk to people, tell them the story, make them feel loved. cared for, then
Mm-hmm.
it's not just procedural, it's not just scripts, it's not just forms, it's not just social media. It's actually having, one-on-one interactions with people. So
Love it.
uh, meet as many people as it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
And, when you're in practice, get out of your office, go meet the grocer, go meet the Starbucks barista,
Yeah.
the person who works in your car. You introduce yourself. You tell them you're a chiropractor. Hand them a card. Say if you ever feel as though we could do anything to help you, come on and let's check you. So
Yeah.
that's go out, meet people, and know effectively how to engage people into chiropractic care.
Mm-hmm.
Know how to introduce somebody into your practice effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Do a consultation, do an effective evaluation, be able to explain what's going on with the person's spine, give recommendations for care, develop a means of exchange for them to be able to receive care. That process of your day one, day two, and engagement in care is a skill. I mean, you work on your entire life, but it's one that you really can't hone in on until you're in practice.
Mm-hmm.
Schools will try to teach it, but it's just a reality that when you're in practice, you just ain't going to get in school.
Yeah.
The job of school is to really give you the basic skills of communication, understanding, clinical competency. You get into practice, you're gonna have to learn how to do an effective day one, day two
Sure.
procedure in your office.
Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right. $1 million question, Dr. Peter. If you could design the ultimate chiropractic program, okay, you're obviously in that seat right now, right? You have some influence on that. So, or maybe even some sort of initiative, whatever that may be, with unlimited resources. What would it include to prepare chiropractors for future challenges?
There are a lot of things in the curriculum at Life West that I really, really love.
Uh,
Students get their hands on people literally day one in class.
really? Wow.
They're actually delivering adjustments by the end of their first year, under supervision, obviously, to other students. So
Mm-hmm.
I love that. The college has developed what's called clinically inspired learning. That everything that is taught, whether it's basic sciences all the way through clinical science, all have a clinical orientation to it. I love that. I love the fact that the entire last year of the program is done in a chiropractic office,
Oh, wow.
so that they're actually off campus. All their academic work is done virtually, but they're actually in an approved office under supervision of another doctor and working under another doctor's
I
license.
love
So,
that.
so I love all of those aspects to it. Um, Having said that, every day you see stuff. I want more, right? Um, on a technical level, I believe that every technique that has ever been developed, whether it's, I'll name a bunch of them that won't mean a darn thing to you. Gonstead, Thompson, SOT, uh, uh, um, Pierce, and every technique that has ever been developed is a different window and a different spinal model. I think one of the brilliant pieces of what we do as chiropractors is you could have 10 different techniques, all doing something very, very different, but all getting a very, very positive outcome in a person's body.
Mm-hmm.
To a certain level, for students, that can become so confusing because we try to infuse upon students multiple different techniques, but each one has got a different model. So in the efforts to try to teach students all the techniques, sometimes what is not taught is the spinal model. And I think that can create confusion.
Gotcha.
So I'd like to develop that even better.
Okay.
The school does a good job. I'd like to do an even better job.
Yeah.
To be a good chiropractor, though, is more than being a good adjuster. It's a person being a caring, compassionate human being. The ethos of Life West, as well as Life College, was actually started by Dr. Sid Williams, is to give, to do, to love, and to serve. That's the fundamental culture of the school. To give for the sake of giving, do for the sake of doing, love for the sake of loving, serve for the sake of serving, coming from your own abundance of wanting to be a human being. Although that ethos tends to live in the culture of the school, I would love to see more conscious attention given in terms of an individual's personal growth. The people, students that are going to chiropractic school today are younger than they've ever been. And, the person is going to graduate age, 23, 24, 25 years of age, and is beginning to care for other people. It's more than just a technical skill. It requires somebody who is going to be a leader for individuals and families. So I think it requires a degree of emotional maturity and depth of understanding of self. I would love to see a greater degree of personal growth happen as a conscious, intentional part of the chiropractic curriculum.
Great answer. Great answer. So this is the part where this is where I geek out. This is the stuff I like to talk about. The business of chiropractic care. So I want to talk a little bit about balancing business and service. So I would say running a successful practice requires juggling business responsibilities and then of course the patient care, which is the more important in my opinion. How did you juggle the business and the patient care?
There are two parts to business.
Mm-hmm.
There is business management,
Mm-hmm.
and then there's the financial exchange with the patient. So which one are you asking me? Or do you want both?
Let's go with the business management and see where that answer takes us. Yeah, I'm interested in
So
both really.
the aspect of management that chiropractors are not trained how to be a business person.
Right.
They are not trained on how to be a boss. They're not trained on how to market.
Yep.
They're not that whole aspect of things. Hence, there are lots of consultants that you can work with one-on-one or groups and things you can be a part of. I've
Sure.
done a number of them over the years.
Yeah.
The most important piece, in my opinion, relative to the management of the business
Mm-hmm.
is to constantly work on it, not just in it.
Mm.
And one of the things that I think stresses many chiropractors is everything is involved in terms of patient care, being and serving your patients, educating your procedures. That's where their focus is. And they don't necessarily carve out time and schedule for business sides of things. So the advice that I always give chiropractor is you need to schedule in your week time to work on your business.
Mm-hmm.
And working on the business, maybe doing promotional things for the business.
Mm-hmm.
It might be hiring, firing, training staff.
Sure.
It might be managing your finances, paying bills, or dealing with your bookkeeper and doing taxes. But there is time and energy that you need to spend every week to work on the business. And whether it's organizing, coordinating, training, that you need to take responsibility to do that. Or you constantly work as an associate.
Sure.
You work for somebody else, or you work for a franchise that does all of those things.
Yeah.
I know one of the things that attracted me to going to chiropractic school, and does for many people, is I get to be my own boss. I get to make my own hours. I get to, but with that comes responsibility of working on the business. I've taken loads of business courses in chiropractic, outside of chiropractic. I've continually working on my business skills. And there are many pieces of it. It's not like you take a business class, oh, you're done, right? One of the conversations actually we had in our cabinet meeting was about having students having business skills. And my comment to the board was, I don't believe students even have the bandwidth to learn a lot of business skills.
Right.
They're too interested in making sure they pass their boards, that they, you get through this test and finish this quarter. Where am I going to practice? All those things are in their head.
Yeah, for sure.
I said, what we do need to give a student is how to think like a business person. That needs to get infused everywhere within the curriculum. That you are an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You are a business person.
Yeah.
And that
good.
business skill needs to live throughout the curriculum without necessarily a class in business. We're not a business school.
Yeah.
But you can think like a business. I mean, but bottom line of business is you got to make more money than you spend.
Right.
But sometimes that reality, particularly in the mind of a student, doesn't even live.
Sure.
They get hundreds of thousands of dollars just by signing a piece of paper in student loans. But in terms of them understanding what's the real meaning of that signature, of that loan, and paying
Sure.
it back, and the
Sure.
responsibility and interest, to think like a business person is a critical piece of it. Within practice, working on your business is a critical.
Yeah, on that and then so would you say then, carving out that time, would you so as far as the patient care is concerned, would you say that, working with the patient is a different time allocated than, after, they've left your office, you would work on those patient files and study them and make sure, like, so you're allocating time to patient care, you're allocating time to reviewing the patient's files, and you're allocating time to actually spending on the business and the financials of it, right? So you have to be
So
deliberate, right?
there are three types of time, simply speaking, in the chiropractic world.
Yeah.
There's prime time, and that's the time that you're serving.
Mm-hmm.
You're adjusting patients, you're in your office, you're delivering the goods, or you're out in the community doing a talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's all prime time. That's
Sure.
You're basically on stage.
Yeah.
Then there's playtime. That's your personal time. Time with your family, vacations, downtime, going to a sports game, whatever it is. Playtime. The other time is called prep time. Prep time is working on the business.
Mm-hmm.
It's completing your patient files, preparing a report of findings, figuring out what you're going to do for a SEP training, all the things that work in and on your business.
Yeah.
That needs to get scheduled.
Got it.
If you don't, what it does is it robs from your personal time, your play time, and you wind up developing resentment on one side or the other.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You actually need to schedule that time within your life.
Gotcha. Do you have any maybe branding insights for that you would share with chiropractors looking to really build their practices right now? Is there anything you can kind of
To define what you mean by branding insights.
Branding. So for me, branding is a very, very wide topic, because you're talking about the atmosphere, you're talking about your colors, you're talking about your logo, you're talking about your approach to how you're actually handling patients and how you talk to them and things like that. And then that aspect in and of itself, if you're bringing in an associate, make sure that associate is actually treating them the way they're supposed, and so on. So branding is a really wide topic.
It's a huge piece of it.
Yeah.
So I guess the thing, the essence of chiropractic work is to do things from the inside out.
Mm-hmm.
To recognize the body expresses its own wisdom from the inside out. I believe branding needs to come from that same place.
Okay.
You don't brand from the outside in. You brand so it needs to come from a degree of authenticity. What do you love? Okay. What resonates for you?
Yeah.
What do you want in that space? And then look at it from that standpoint. Then put your patient in there. What do they see, hear, smell, taste, touch while they're in that experience?
Mm-hmm.
Are things patient centered? The office environment needs to be a place that I like the colors and the feeling that I'm happy there. Playing the music and all that other stuff, but that from the patient's point of view, what are they comfortable? Are their needs being met? Are they being heard? So the in terms of branding, that's that immediate aspect to it. Well, I know something that has been a marketing term that's come up a lot is who's your avatar?
Mm-hmm.
Who's your ideal patient?
Absolutely.
And my knee jerk reaction would always be, all my patients are my I want to take care of everybody. I want to take care of everybody. But if I had to pick an avatar, it's we defined her as soccer mom.
Okay.
Soccer mom is the mom who is a young family. That's the person I want in my practice.
Mm-hmm.
She comes in because most healthcare decisions for a family are made by the mother.
By the mom. Agreed.
Most of them.
It is like that in my house.
She comes in and we develop trust and rapport.
Sure.
And she develops an understanding of what it is we do. I know that within a short period of time, her kids will be here.
Yeah.
And a short time later, dad will be here.
Yeah.
And so that was the focus of because that's what I wanted a family practice. So that's how I defined it. Having said all of that stuff.
Yeah.
A key point, and I say this in my classes all the time, I said, stay current.
Sure.
Stay contemporary. I know many chiropractors that are in practice 20, 30, 40 years, and you go in their office and the reception room looks the same way that it did when they put it up.
I've seen
They have the
those.
same magazines in there, right? The same books in there,
Yeah.
same contemporary.
Yeah. That's good.
And my metaphor is, I said, when I went to chiropractic school,
Mm-hmm.
I loved music. And I drove out in my 1974 Gremlin, American
Okay.
Motor. You probably
Yeah.
don't even know what that car
Of
looks like.
course I do.
I
Yeah.
get, and I had this thing about this size of my car because my car didn't have, I had a radio, but I wanted to play my own music. And there were things about this size that were called cassettes. Have you ever heard of
Of
them? Yeah.
course. Yeah.
And you put this thing in there and you close the door and you
Yeah.
press the play button. And if
Yeah.
I didn't like the song, I had to push another button and wait till I
Yeah.
got to the song.
Of course.
Yeah. So that's how I listened to music. When I got into practice, I played tapes within the office, and I got to the end of the tape. You had to flip the cassette and
Yeah.
do it, and then afterwards, you started getting music streamed to you online,
Yeah.
and now it lives on your phone.
Yep.
And I hear a song, and boom, in seconds, I can actually have it on my phone.
That's right. Yeah.
It's the same music, but how we package it is different.
Oh, that's so good. I
How we
love
sell
the
it
way you
is
did
different.
that.
Okay.
Yes.
Chiropractic is the same as it was in 1895 when
Yeah.
D.D. Palmer, just to Harvey Lillard, you put a force into the body takes that force, and magic happens.
Yeah.
Chiropractic conceptually hasn't changed. How we package it has to evolve because
Yeah.
culture evolves.
Yeah.
The terminology that people use is different.
Uh,
The way the forms look. All my forms are available. When a new person comes in, they're emailed to the person. They're available online.
yeah.
And I really wrestle with this. I don't like forms being filled out online
Mm,
because there is a qualitative aspect when somebody uses a pen and
mm,
they write stuff down that's different than when people are typing it.
mm-hmm.
Okay, so this is Peter, but I'm in practice 40 years, right?
Yeah.
But my associates, I'm filling it online. A different culture generation,
Sure.
with me. So I avoided being digitized in my office. 1996, I think we actually got we computerized the office.
Mm,
I thought I liked them on paper. My paper
yeah.
notes meant more to me than
Yeah.
not. You got to stay contemporary,
Sure.
not just for state boards and regulations, but you stay contemporary. That's what patients expect.
Yeah.
People want to be able to make appointments online. People want to be able to interact on it. Used to
Yeah.
be, but my phone would ring in the office all day long when I was
Yeah.
first in practice. Now,
Now
hardly
it's,
ever.
now
People
it's
are
all
doing everything on.
messages and
So you
texts
need to
and
stay contemporary.
sure.
I just how many chiropractors, senior chiropractors, even younger, don't even have a website.
Yeah.
And even a website. When we redid our website maybe 5 years ago, 6 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm looking at it, I said, boy, we got to update it again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Websites change, the look and feel
For
of things
sure.
change. You need to stay, because that speaks to your office.
Yeah.
You know,
That's good advice. That's good advice. So I want to talk a little bit about the marketing aspect. So we talked about, getting out into the community, right? Being face to face, being social, shaking hands, kissing babies, that kind of situation. But what's outside of that? Because I think that social aspect is critical. If you're not connecting with your community, you're not making a difference, right? If you're just an office to be a revolving door like certain franchises are, you're not making a difference, in my opinion. But outside of being connected to the community that way, what strategies would you say are most effective in growing a practice and becoming a trusted community resource as well?
the number one thing. I mean, when you're first in practice, get out in the community,
Yes.
meet people, all the things.
Yes.
External marketing you always need to do, but in my opinion, the thing that really markets your practice
Mm-hmm.
is internal. It's caring for people that they know that they're seeing the most amazing chiropractor, and you nurture those relationships. We tend to be very, very front loaded in terms of how we engage in relationships, in all relationships.
Yeah.
But even within practice,
Yeah.
in personal relationships, you meet somebody, you like them, you're calling them all day long, you're texting them all day long, you're writing little notes and cards and little gifts, and you're constantly doing that.
Yeah.
And then as time goes on, we tend to do less and less of it. Yes, you do it for anniversaries and birthdays, but I believe that the health of any relationship is continually nurturing the relationship. in practice, people come in, day one, we spend an hour. Day two, we spend 45 minutes.
Mm.
And as time goes on, the time with people actually becomes less and less. So you want to do stuff that nurtures that connection. So I'm all up for doing celebrations in the office, and not just for promotions, although you can wrap it around promotions, but have parties.
Yeah.
We would do ice cream days
That's
in
so
the
cool.
office, or
I would have
pony
been there.
rides, or just stuff that nurtures
Yeah.
the community that you're building. We would do educational workshops for people throughout the year, beyond just an introductory class in chiropractic, but stuff that nurtures the group to be together. Have an environment where people want to. Just coming to here makes me feel good. So nurture the community, the relationships, and market. Don't be afraid to ask people for referrals.
Referrals are key, I'm sure. Yeah. That's good.
I mean, is there anybody in your world that could benefit from chiropractic care?
Right. So easy.
Oh, yeah, I'm trying to get some
Yeah.
anything I can do to help.
Okay. Question for you about, so as we're winding down just a little bit, we're not ending our time just yet, but as we're winding down, I want to touch on the future of chiropractic. And I just have one question really that's burning inside of me that I like to ask. And it's more around emerging trends. So you're saying, constantly be changing and shifting, and you're, like always be learning and all that. What around emerging trends within chiropractic care, do you see any advancements or trends, right, in chiropractic care that I would say excite you, and how do you see them shaping the profession in the coming years?
I want to say 100 things all at the same time.
Of course.
I'm going to take it from a bigger frame. I've always believed in the deepest part of my being, since being a chiropractor, that the most important thing that chiropractors can offer patients, aside from delivering a specific spinal adjustment, is to have a patient appreciate the magic, the genius, the vitality that resides within every cell of their being. That life force that animates every cell of our body, that keeps us alive, that allows us to think, breathe, feel, experience the joy of being human, that needs to be honored. That the more, if I can get you to appreciate the genius and the magnificence of life inside your body, you're going to take care of you. Okay? And to come from that place, to come looking on the inside and trusting your physiology and the design of that physiology, it's a genius. Our body makes every drug, every chemical it should ever need in a lifetime. It's designed that way. It's designed to live well over 100 years of age, as long as things don't interfere with it. If I can get you to appreciate just how brilliant your body is, you're going to take care of it. I've always had that as my drive in terms of patient education and patient care. Don't thank me, thank your body. Your body is the healer, etc. I believe when COVID happened, it was a shock to everybody, but particularly within my practice. When people who were coming in, now we became afraid of this pathogen. We created so much fear around people that people didn't trust the genius and the wisdom of their body. And I will be honest with you, during the first 6 months, most of 2020, I felt like my 40 plus years in practice was a fit, that the people lost it. But then I began to see a whole shift. Patients who said, this is a bunch of BS. What you've been telling me is really true. My body knows what to do. I need to take care of my body. I have a strong, capable immune system. And they began to see the deception and the dysfunction that's living out in our world. And that things, that a lot of the stuff that they're seeing, they don't need to believe that they can really look on the inside. Yes, I need to take care of myself. So when in 2020, I might have felt like a failure, by 2022, I said, damn, the people are getting it. And I believe that there's an opportunity right now to take and amplify that 10,000-fold.
100% agree.
The opportunity that I think our culture is so rich. I've always said, people, need chiropractic care and are so ready for chiropractic care.
Mm-hmm.
But so the chiropractic care in the vitalistic salutogenic model that I've lived my life in, people are starving for it right now. More than we give them an answer to the dysfunction and the distrust that they've really built within the media and the healthcare system. So I'm very excited about the opportunities that are really opening up, not to just have chiropractic become the premier primary healthcare
Yeah.
provider, or whatever that means, but that true essence of chiropractic within this, you know, life expression, salutogenic health, well-being, vital model can actually be embraced by the culture. I believe that it's a critical time to do that. People are realizing that the true essence of health doesn't come in trying to rid the world of pathogens, that it comes in creating a healthier body.
Wow.
That the job isn't to try to avoid things, but it's to become symbiotic with the world that we live in.
Right.
And that's the true essence of what we strive for.
Love it. That's so profound. What, Dr. Peter, honestly, what keeps you passionate and inspired?
Podcasts like this,
Ah.
I get to talk and tell the story, man.
Okay. I love that answer. Can you elaborate a little?
Well, it keeps you going. You know, every day you wake up and I believe every day we get up and we have the opportunity to contribute to the world. And so when my eyes wake and I start my day, I start to create my days. Is what do I want to create today? What impact do I want to make? So I look at my schedule, the meetings and the things that I need to get done. Or when I was in practice, I looked at the people I was going to be serving and how I was going to be dealing with my team. But I basically said, well, what contribution? What can I do today that between now and the end of the day, should my life be over at the end of the day, can I say that I've added some positive benefit into the world and to life experience? So that's what drives me every day, is finding that thing to contribute. And sometimes it might just be, a comment to somebody. Sometimes it might just be a pause and having a conversation that I need to make with somebody. Sometimes it's creating or completing a project. It changes every day. But what gives me the juice every day is it's that. I start my day in gratitude for my gifts, for my family, my relationships, and the things that are close to me, the opportunities that are before me, and what can I create today?
That's good. That's good. I love that. Well, I was gonna ask you in a professional way, but I'm gonna lean in here, and my old Brooklyn Benson herself. I'm gonna ask you a question. I was gonna be all professional about it, but I'm gonna lean in as if me many years ago asking you this question. I'm gonna say, hey, Dr. Peter, I gotta ask you a question. You got a minute?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So
What are you doing?
so listen, I'm a little bit hesitant about seeking this chiropractic mumbo jumbo stuff. What would you say to encourage me a little bit, take a little step towards, whatever this crackly, wackly, dackly stuff that you do? What is it? Tell me. Like, how would I take the first step? What do I do?
Well, number one, you shouldn't do anything you don't want to do. I'm never going to force you to do anything. But I will tell you, if you were my brother, I would want you to have the benefit of chiropractic care. If you were my child, I'd make sure that you were getting your spine checked and adjusted. So I know that you like me, you trust me. Seek it out. Go visit a chiropractor, talk to them, and say, what can you do for me? Give them a chance to evaluate your body, see what's going on. Let them explain it to you. If it doesn't make sense to you and you don't see any value in it, then I don't think you should do it. But my guess is, if the chiropractor does a good job and does what I believe that they should do, that after they explain what they're going to do, they do it and they show you what they found, that you're going to want to benefit from that. It's sort of like if you never knew what it was like to have a great meal, eat an ice cream cone, fall in love. If you didn't know what any of those things were, why do I want to do this love thing? There just seems to be a lot of hurt on the other side. Yeah, there can be. And you shouldn't do anything you don't want to do. But I know that when you immerse yourself in love and compassion with another being, another soul, that is the greatest amount of joy, fulfillment, and happiness that you can ever have in your life. I feel the same way about chiropractic. You know, the minute that you immerse yourself in that, you experience a degree of well-being and vitality that you never had before. It's magic. But you don't know what it's like until you experience. But it's going to make sense to you. You got to feel good.
Yeah. Dr. Peter, you got me all misty-eyed over here. What are you doing? All right. So I'll check it out. So let me ask you about Westwood, Life West, your phenomenal minute series, all that. How can listeners learn more about your practice, your position right now at Life West and Phenomenal Minute? What's a good way for them to get
Okay.
connected?
So if somebody wants to get in touch with me, really easy. My personal email, Dr. Peter Kevorkian, Dr. Peter Kevorkian at pm.me, protonmail pm.me. Or you can do pkevorkian at lifewest.edu. And if you can't find it, just go to lifewest.edu and
Look you up.
you'll find me on there somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
For my practice, my associates are in my practice. I still own the practice, but my associates are there. But if you want information about it, it's westwoodfamilychiropractic.com. All
Okay.
one word, Westwood Family Chiropractic. Westwood, just the way it sounds, familychiropractic.com. And you can go to the website. You can email through the website. I do have a website, drpeterkevorkian.com. It's a website that I actually built for the students of my ICPA class. You can get in touch with me there if you want to.
Nice. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. I'm gonna leave with this $1,000,000 question. What is the most impactful investment, financial or otherwise, you've made in your journey to becoming a leader in chiropractic care, Dr. Peter?
Well, the simple answer is the investments that I made into myself. The more that I invest in myself, the better chiropractor I become. So financial investments, obviously seminars and trainings and things that I've done, but even investments that I've made in terms of exercise, workout, my personal rituals and disciplines to care for me. The more I'm caring for me, the better chiropractor I am. The more I care for me, the better administrator I am. The more I care for me, the better father that I am. So to continually invest in me, in my, and not just me physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, in every possible way. The more I invest in myself, the better that I'm able to come into the world. So the single best one, it depends on the season of my life. 40 years ago, or 50 years ago, the greatest investment was going to college. 10 years later, the greatest investment was you becoming a dad. The next chapter, you develop my technique and my technical excellence, develop my speaking skills. So continually working on yourself. Just don't ever stop.
That's good. Well, Dr. Peter, thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey, insights, and really passion for chiropractic care and education. Your transition from running a thriving practice that's still alive today to making a really profound impact as vice president at Life West is really, really, really inspiring. So to our listeners, I hope today's conversation has really given you valuable perspectives on the power of chiropractic care, the power of your body and how it can perform, and the importance of leadership in the profession, and of course the ways we can all contribute to a healthier community. So if you found value in this episode, don't forget, subscribe to Beyond Adjustments and leave us a review. And you can also connect with us online to stay updated on future episodes and more impactful conversations. And maybe we'll have Dr. Peter back in the future to see what's going on in his world. So until next time, keep adjusting your approach to growth, both in practice and in life. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Peter.